All rise for the Honorable Judge Kelly. All right, now sit down.
Thank you, Forrest. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this afternoon. It's a little unorthodox use of our little church house here, but the situation we find ourselves in is a little unorthodox and a little sad. We are gathered here today to examine the case of the state versus Charlie Montgomery. Charlie, you are charged with murder in the first degree. How do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
The bench calls forward prosecuting attorney Cyrus Heath.
Good morning, everyone. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mrs. Brown. The prosecution would like to enter into evidence this wallet. It contains 3 items. $12 in cash, a movie ticket stub, and a driver's license belonging to Mr. Charles Montgomery.
Order in the court!
This piece of evidence clearly places the accused at the scene of the murder at the time it occurred.
Order in the court! Mr. Heath, take your seat.
I was not done.
Mr. Heath.
Of course.
Miss Ainsley, you may approach the bench.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I stand before you to ask you a simple question. Is Charlie Montgomery, the president of the Future Farmers of America Club at West Rock High School, a murderer? Charlie has led his FFA team to victory at competition after competition. This shows a great deal of care for his teammates and leadership. Do you really believe that someone like that is capable of cold-blooded murder? Do you really believe that someone from this town could kill someone? You don't have a courthouse here. You don't even have a stenographer. This town has been through enough heartache. Charlie's a good kid. We don't need to see him go to prison.
Thank you, Miss Ainsley. Court will adjourn for a brief lunch intermission.
Oh, Miss Montgomery.
I thought you might want dinner. I don't know if you'd have time to make it.
Thank you, Amy.
It's whatever.
No, I really appreciate this.
Well, it really was no trouble at all.
Why are you doing this?
What?
Treating me like this, bringing me dinner and all?
Charlie's getting a fair trial, just like everyone else.
You ever been to Memphis, Amy?
Can't say I have.
The whole world seems a whole lot bigger out there. Not in old Oakford Falls, though. Feels like you could fit the whole world on the top of a pin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come here today not to act as if we know the will of God, however much the prosecution may think he knows what that is. We come here to survey the facts. Is that not a courtroom's job? To deliberate the facts whichever way they point. And the fact is, Mr. Charlie Montgomery is not capable of murder. Nothing I have seen so far has led me to believe that he is...
What of the wallet, Miss
Objection!
Sustained, Mr. Heath. You will wait your turn.
The facts as I see them are that Mr. Heath thinks he knows this town. He was born here, so he thinks he knows what you're all about. But let's not forget what Mr. Heath really thinks of this town. What was it you said to the town reporter, Mr. Franklin, before you left to law school?
Objection, Your
For
Honor.
what reason?
That is irrelevant.
Miss Ainsley, I understand the context of this town, so if you please talk about the case.
Of course, Your Honor. And about that wallet. This doll belongs to little 4-year-old Susan Carmichael. It was found 20 feet from the crime scene. In fact, this town is so small, so intimate, that people often leave their personal objects lying around. People trust each other here, don't they, Mr. Heath? Are you suggesting, Mr. Heath, that little Susie Carmichael is a suspect for murder? The courtroom is yours, Mr. Heath.
Right now, Miss Ainsley is trying her best to appeal to us as small-town folks. Is she not? Appeal to our hearts, our sentimentality, our sense of unity. Pardon my language, but what the hell does she know? Miss Ainsley isn't from our town. In fact, Miss Ainsley was born and raised in Yonkers City, New York. And yet, she is trying to tell us how to respond to tragedy in our town like she is one of us. I do know you all. Susie Carmichael? Her mother Layla taught me preschool. Mr. Franklin, I mowed his lawn for 6 years. I was there on the day that Charles Montgomery was born. I understand why you all want to let Charlie off the hook because he is one of us. And yet, another thing I know is that if this town knows anything, it is the difference between right and wrong. And what Charlie did was wrong. He took another person's life. I understand. You're his parents, his friends. But we're in a situation where we have to think of someone else. Another person had parents and friends, and that person is dead. And they were killed by our Charlie. And I believe in the justice system of the United States of America, and I believe in justice.
Your Honor, I'd like to call for a 15-minute recess.
Granted.